speak on and have a presentation on Black mental health. So if you will, join us inside. Please take your seats. Thank you.
Diagnosed with all types of conduct disorders, oppositional defiant disorders, ADHD, depression, anxiety. A man suffered with a bunch of Skittles on the river. I realize now what I was suffering from then was internal. Broken heart disorder, abandonment disorder, no family disorder. Low heads, all my life I grew up without a real place to call home. Everything I owned I had in plastic bags, except for the chip on my shoulder, and I carried both of them with me wherever I went. I buried my emotions so deep inside that I didn't let nobody in because I knew that they weren't going to be in my life for long. The only emotion I knew how to show was anger, because it was easy. No apologies for the things that I've done in my life. I could change some things. I wish my mother died. I wish my father loved me. I wish that he didn't do drugs. I wish I didn't go into the system. I wish I didn't stab that dude. I wish that I was a better father. I wish I was a better man. When I look behind these bars, making my business, be the best man that I can be. Don't be in myself. Don't make a difference. Forgive me for my sin. Hello, my name is Terryl Daluz. I am a writer, I'm an actor. I've been working in the social service field with young men, Black and brown men, for over 20 years. This was an excerpt from a play that I wrote called Max. It's the play that myself and my writing partner, Dan Alfonso, we wrote this together because we wanted to tell the stories of the Black and brown men that we worked through throughout our time, and the trauma that they went through, and the mask that they wear in order to move through that trauma. Sometimes, dealing with these young men, I know I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I've worked in this field and experiencing the trauma, some of the same traumas that they've experienced as Black and brown men, we all know, right? So we want to share these stories. And a lot of times, what we found was that the trauma is so deep, and they're carrying it so much that they don't even know how to let it go. And what is trauma? When we talk about the trauma, that is a lot of Black and brown men have experienced. Trauma, one, coming up in a home, just being raised by your mom. Not everything, but having to deal with that. Not knowing where your dad is. Experiencing men in and out of your life who may be abusing your mind. And seeing the abuse is traumatic. Having to walk down the street and worry about if you're going to get shot or not is traumatic. Seeing one of your best friends or a friend or a peer of yours get shot down in the street is traumatic. Those traumas, where do they go? They're still there. They're in. As you go on through life, you're carrying this big burden on you. So now you walk around angry, not knowing how to deal with it, not knowing how to let go. And it may manifest itself in different ways, where you can then maybe end up here, in orange suit, in shackles. Some people are functioning with their trauma. Some people went on and get degrees with their trauma. Some people went on to get their doctorate with trauma. Some people are still moving through life with trauma. And it comes out, it seeps out through different things. Anxiety, depression, all of that is real. So we all know that. We know that we have a lot of young people that are suffering. Myself, coming up in the inner city, my mom did her best to shield me from the trauma. She just raised a spiritual woman. Love in the home, but we lived in the hood. And when I stepped outside of those doors, she couldn't protect me from some of the traumas, right? And those traumas impacted my life. Seeing a 12-year-old being murdered in front of my eyes and having to move through the day like nothing ever happened. Being shot at 17 and being able to not go back to school because I was a victim of being shot. And having to prove that I wasn't involved in a gang or a crew and that I was innocent so that I could get my education. Those things are traumatic. But how do we move past it? I wore this for a reason, not only because it's a part of my persona in my play, but I think it symbolizes a couple of things. It's right here, shackles. I have the key. Sometimes we wear the mental shackles that keeps us locked, right? Sometimes we wear the guard or the conditioning that keeps us where we are. And we have to disrobe ourselves from the conditioning, and the things that we've been taught. Sometimes the conditioning may be good intention. It may have been your father who said, man up, men don't cry. Man, you ain't dealing with that. Keep it in. Keep on moving. Be a man. So what that happened to you? So what you was abused by your uncle as a young man? So what? Get over it. So we carry that as we move. And the way to get over it, it starts here. So I want to talk about mental wellness. Wellness. And this is what I do when I work with my young people. I talk about these things because it starts with you first. Taking off the shackles. That sounds easy. Disrobing yourself of the conditioning that you've been put on you. That sounds easy, but it's not. But you can do it, changing your state of mind. And what I tell my young people, and the young people and people that I speak to, is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. What do you mean by that? So, you grew up in the system. You grew up in foster care. or you didn't know where your dad was, or you may have had it that hard coming up in your neighborhood. Okay? Do you look at it and stay focused on that, or you focus on what can I do differently to make a difference? How can I change things? So some of the things I talk about in wellness is how do you change the way you look at things? How many people here feel like you can change your state of mind by thinking of something different? Raise your hand. When you think of something different, you change your state of mind. I'll give you, for instance, you may be walking down the street, be in a great mood, happy, blah, 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 and you see someone who looked like someone that may have done something to you or evoked emotion to you, and all of a sudden it triggers a thought of that past experience, and there you go. You were just happy. You were just in that state of mind where you were happy, and boom. I remember when this happened to me. Or you've been in a situation when you were mad in a certain state, and someone or something came to you and said, "Are you okay?" Or gave you a hug, and it changed your state. So mental wellness, the first thing is changing the state of emotion that you're in. How do you do that? People say it's hard, but is it? Some people choose to stay in that emotional state. That's just how I am. This is how I was raised. I like being mad. I'm okay with that. If you don't like it, too bad. Right? But there's ways of doing it. What I practice is I allow myself to be in that space for a moment. It's okay if you're sad, if you're stressed, if you're going through some things. Sit in it for a minute. Allow your body to feel that. How long you sit in it is the issue, right? Now, by far, I'm not saying there's some people that have to have medication because of certain chemical imbalances. But also, we have to find ways to be well within ourselves outside of just medication. Smoking, a J, or having to smoke a cigarette, or having to do those things. We have the power within us to change how we feel. We're the only creatures that can do that. We can change how we feel. Right now, I'm feeling happy and I want to feel sad. I can just think about something that makes me sad. I can see the images on TV that makes me sad. So, how do we change that? Start your day off showing gratitude. I tell everyone this. We deal with so much negativity. Don't turn on the news and listen to what's going on, because you're going to be bombarded with the negative images that then comes into your mind, which then transforms to feelings, and then you push that out into the universe. Right? Energy is important. So if I'm taking in negative things in the first thing in the morning, my energy, if I don't have anything to combat it with, is going to be negative. And I'm sure you know people that when they walk in the room, you automatically feel their energy. Oh, here we go. That's that brother right there. Stay away from or this the brother that when he walks in the room, good morning, brothers, and he smiles, and you like being around that energy. Energy is real. Energy is being transmitted all the time. Before, we have a phone right now that you can put up and send my message out to the world, and the energy is being transmitted to people out in the world. Right now, my energy is being transmitted to you right now. So if you're not aware of the energy that you have when you step into the room, then you wonder why people turn their back or may not answer your calls or stay away from you, or they always say he's always mad. Be aware of your energy. Change the energy that you have. What's the intake that you're taking in the morning? Gratitude, showing gratitude for what you have. The ability to be able to come into this room today, right now, and sit here and hear audible sounds. The ability for me to be able to be thinking things right now as I'm speaking, and it's being transmitted to my brain, and it's then being spoken through words, in motion, and things that I'm doing. That's all, I'm sure that's gratitude. We are blessed So when we change the way we look at things, think of the intake that we get every morning. Our energy, what we put out, how we present ourselves to the universe, to people. We can begin the healing process. And I talk to a lot of the young men that I deal with, and I say, okay, you want to stay in this mindset. You want to stay in this mindset. Do you want to stay in carrying this monkey on your back for the rest of your lives? How many people know people that you grew up with that are still the same way they were when they was a kid? They didn't let go. They didn't confront the issues head on. We have to be able to confront the issues head on. Don't cover it up. Coming up in the community, it was said, don't talk, you crazy if you're talking to a therapist. If you have to go to speak to someone, something's wrong with you, you're crazy. That kept those emotions, those things built down inside of us and not being able to release it. So we have to find ways for outlets. What are your outlets? Speaking to someone. Not someone who's going to bring you down, but someone that's going to listen to you, hear your process, validate your feelings, and then say, how can you make the change? So, when we talk about wellness, there's three things that I look at. One is changing the state of mind that you're in. I gave you some tools. There's other tools, prayer, meditation, really sitting still with yourself and allowing those thoughts to dissipate and just being one with your spirit and allowing that to just be. Sitting still. Sit still and know that you are God. What does that mean? Sitting still, letting go of the conditioning, the thoughts, and just being close to your spirit, which will allow you to be connected to the Supreme, which allows you to move differently once you're aware of it. Change your state of mind. 2, wellness. Change your story. So yes, that was my story coming up. That's your story, whatever your story is. But change it. Oprah wouldn't be where she is today if she did not say, I'm going to change my story. That's just one example. There's examples of people that you may know personally that we hear about that change the story. You yourself, probably each and every one of you have a story. But you decided to make a change. And I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go on to school. I'm going to pledge this fraternity. I'm going to make a difference in my community. Whatever my story was then is not my story now, and I'm going to pass this on to my kids, to their kids, so that their story can be better than my story. So changing your story is key. And if you're working with young people, I encourage you to get them in that state of mind. How do you change your mind? Start looking at your story, visualizing where you want to be. You may not be there right now, but visualization is key to changing your story. Being able to sit back and go, man, I see myself doing this. And guess what? It will come. There's a thing called the reticular activating system. And we deal with it every day. Sometimes we don't even realize it. When we may think something, and next thing you know, you turn on the radio and you hear what you was thinking, right? Or you're driving down the street and you see these signs and you're like, oh man, I just was thinking that. Or someone that you was thinking about calls you. Boom, and you're like, man, I was just thinking about you. We deal with that every day. We can use that to our advantage by feeding our brain with positive visions in the visions that we want to see ourselves at, and encompassing everything about it and embodying it, so that every day if we envision that, before we meditate, after we pray, and every afternoon and at night before we go to bed, we envision that, guess what? Those things start to happen. How many people experience that? Raise your hand. Everyone in this room, I guarantee. So if we begin to just think about the things that we want, see the things, feel the things, connect to them, the blessings will come. Change your state of mind, change your story. Third thing, plan of action. How? What am I going to do to make those changes? Maybe it may mean changing the environment that I'm in. I know we all have family and friends that drain us. And it's hard for us sometimes to say, I can't keep myself in that atmosphere, even though they're people that I love. I have to make the switch. I may have to step away from my best friend who I've known since I was 5 years old or 15 years old, or my uncle, or my father, or somebody who's taking your energy and draining it. Doesn't mean that you don't love them anymore. It may mean that you have to step away and love them from afar, so that you can get yourself to a place where you feel like, I'm at my greatest. That may be a plan of action. Changing the environment, changing the people. Another plan of action may be just, what am I going to do different? Am I going to change my routine daily? Like, you got people who want to lose weight, and they say, I'm going to lose weight, man, I'm going to lose weight. But they don't change their rituals. So it's the same thing every day. And then they're like, man, well, I did it one day. I should have lost something. Right? Oh, man, I thought I was going to, well, you did it one day. It's changing your ritual on a daily basis. If you don't get up early, and that's not your thing, and your day is always dragging, and you're always like, man, I don't feel like I'm being productive, then change your getting up process. I'm going to get up a little bit earlier. I'm going to do something that's going to center myself, and I'm going to focus on creating this type of energy. And guess what? Your day will start over. Better. Okay? So, I have to bring it to a close. But once again, I just wanted to share my experiences as a counselor, but also as a black man, and how I had to maneuver and continue to maneuver through this world which sometimes can get overwhelming and can get weighed down with other people's stuff, because I have to be the strong person. And we need to take care of ourselves. I need to take care of myself. And there's things that we have to do in order to continue to be strong, but also to be vulnerable and to allow ourselves to go through a process where we can recharge, rejuvenate, regenerate. So thank you all for taking the time to just sit here listening to me. I appreciate everything that you're doing. One of my best friends, Adam Jackson, asked me to come out today, and I love the work that he's doing. I love the work that your brothers are doing. Continue to do that. For the young people in the room, remember what I was just saying for the older people in the room. You're never too old to learn. I'm open to everything, attached to nothing, right? And as we move through this world, we have to maneuver that way, because if we stay stuck in those old ways, then there's no room for growth. Thank you. Have a blessed day.